Yo, what's going on, Nashville Fit Fam? It is Gerell Webb, and I'm here with my girl. Let's see who we get today.
Yo. It's your girl, Sav. Savvy Sav. No. Hey, guys.
Sav.
How's it going?
What's good, baby? Today's podcast is brought to you by our title sponsor, Clean Eatz.
Whoop.
We appreciate the free food that you haven't sent us yet, but I know it's on the way. Clean Eatz. No, seriously, if you need meal prep, if you're not a meal prep person, go by there. Jump into those freezers and grab those prepackaged meal
Game
preps.
changer.
Or you can grab some hot food while you're there too. It's definitely a game changer.
And it tastes good.
Yeah, most importantly, it tastes good. I'm not just saying that because they're a sponsor. Like, I've eaten there before. They sponsored us. Sai, what's good, baby?
Oh, you know what it is.
I know what it is.
I'm in my rapper stage
I know.
today.
Yeah, I love it. Brim low, you know what it is. You know?
Yep.
I love it.
We're chilling. How are you doing?
Man, no complaints, man. You know,
Your biceps are about to tear that shirt up.
You know, Sap, I like to every now and then. No.
I am just here to boost that ego of yours.
I told you, Sav. I told you. Listen,
I got you.
My love language is words of affirmation. Tell me how great I am. All right.
I know this.
So you know, you guys.
It's all
don't
part of
know
my
that.
master plan.
I appreciate it. But it's working. Whatever it is, it's whatever. You'll probably get whatever you want from me.
Got him.
Flattery will get you everywhere with me.
Love it.
Yeah. So, bro, we were talking off camera for a little bit. And you were talking about Muay Thai.
Yeah, we were talking about fighting.
We were talking about fighting. Like, I've just started like a little boxing fight camp. And you
I'm
were
excited
talking
for you.
Thank you. Well, you know, I don't do well getting hit. I'll be honest with you.
It's hard.
Like, I don't like getting hit. So, but I train well. Like, if you walked in the gym and saw me train, you're like, oh, that guy must be the champ. I look good. I float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. I look good training, but I don't like.
A lot of people do.
Yeah,
a lot of people look like they can fight.
Right? And then I don't like.
I'm one of them.
I've learned. I don't like getting hit. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But I'm more comfortable with it. Right. I have a healthy amount of aggression that is needs to be channeled somewhere. Not necessarily
Absolutely.
but it's also like a new way for me to train. Because I do, you understand this because we can talk. This is Nashville Fit. I train in like periodizations. Like, so I train in periods. So coming out of winter, I do bodybuilding style. I'll get more into like more sports performance the hotter it gets.
For sure.
And then like right now, it's just more of a conditioning. So instead of me just doing like gym conditioning, I was like, yo, I've never done like a fight camp before. I wonder what that feels like. So I'm going to do that. So I'm doing that to kind of get ready for like my sports performance season.
That's awesome. You're going to love it.
So yeah, I hope
It's humbling.
So. It's very already, right?
Good, yeah.
Already very humbling. And then now you feel insecure. Like, can I defend myself? Sheesh, man.
Well, that's the whole thing we were talking about before we started the episode. Is like, that's kind of why I do it.
Yeah.
Is to be humbled because like, you can look like you fight. There's a lot of people who look great punching something or punching a bag, punching some mitts, but can you defend yourself in the ring? And can you? And it's probably the most disciplined I have been in. Well, maybe not the most, but it just adds to that element of, okay, I don't want to be here. More than half the time I don't, but it makes me so much better at life to know how to take hits and to be able to like be more strategic. And the more that you like look at it as like almost like a metaphor to life, like
it is
you're going to take so many hits in life and you have to know how to take them. They're going to come at you. Nobody likes it. Nobody, even the best fighters on the planet. I'm sure you could ask Tyson and he'd be like, yeah, no, I don't enjoy. No one would go up to Mike Tyson and just hit him. And he'd be like, oh, you want to be friends?
Not if you're smart, you wouldn't.
Right. And he's not going to want to be your friend.
Airplane who did it though? There's some guy who walked up to Tyson and
You
punched
saw
him.
what? No, he didn't punch him.
Isn't that what happened to Houdini?
He was talking, and then Tyson showed him what was real.
Right.
I mean,
some
nobody
people
likes
gotta
that.
learn the hard way, you know?
But that's what I like about it is it's like, I guess you can call it masochism, but like, I think there are two different types of people, or you can become that kind of person. I don't think I've always been this way. I think Muay Thai has really helped me become a kind of person that walks into the danger zone.
I think you've always been that person.
You think so?
You just did it differently.
Well, I'll take that.
It just showed up differently, right?
I think so too,
It's
yeah.
just manifesting like in a fight era, right?
Yeah.
So I think you've always kind of lived life on the edge.
Well, thanks. I try.
I don't know. You know your life better.
I
than
think
me.
anybody in fitness does to a degree. Yeah. I think I've gotten a lot less soft though in my career throughout the years because of hardships in life that make you realize, oh, this is going to keep happening. you know,
the great philosopher, scholar, philanthropist,
Savannah Hill. No, I'm just kidding.
I was gonna say, I'm kidding. He's also a poet. Rocky Balboa once said, "It's not how hard you can hit; it's how hard you can get hit."
Yeah,
that's what matters, right? So it's not you being strong and being able to hit. It doesn't matter if you can't take a hit.
That's absolutely true,
and that's life, right? So it's like everybody's cool when they're not getting hit.
Otherwise, you're just a bully.
Yeah. Well, otherwise you've never been tested,
right?
And if you've never been tested, you don't really know how strong you are. You don't know. How do you react when you get hit, right?
You know why so many people don't get to that point? I think a lot of people get to a point where they're like, I'm really strong, and that comfort zone, in order to get out of it, you have to drop your ego. You have to like really let yourself be terrible at something or multiple things, or let somebody show you this is how it's done. Let somebody punch you in the face.
Yeah.
And that's how you go, oh, I am not as strong as I thought I was. Yeah. And you can become stronger.
Yeah.
But how are you ever going to get out of that? How are you ever going to get stronger and get to a like level up if you don't put yourself in that position? And that's what you do.
Here's what I always say though, like use your, like I'm on the other side of ego. I think you should have an ego.
Everybody has one.
I think you should lead with your ego. I think you should learn how to control your ego, but I think you should lead with it, because what your ego isn't going to let you do is stay bad at something. If I have an ego, like my coaches always say, don't check your ego at the door. Bring it in here with you, because I want your best.
Yeah.
Right. And if you're humble, like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. No, forget that. I'm sorry. You get hit and you say, you won't hit me again. You know what? You back up and you say, forget that, bro.
But if you let your ego lead,
did you touch me? Right?
Your ego's there for a purpose. But if you let your ego lead in that moment, what are you going to do? You're going to go right into it, and then you're going to get hit again even harder.
And then you know what you're going to do? You're going to train harder and get better.
You're going to train your ego.
Stop getting hit.
Yeah.
Do you think Tyson has an ego?
Oh, absolutely.
Do you think Muhammad Ali
Everybody,
has an ego?
every single person on this planet has an ego. I just think some people let it run away with them, and then there's some people who let it bury them.
Your ego is what's going to tell you not to go back the next day.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you got to tell yourself, nah, bro. I'm really, come on now.
There's a balance.
I think
there's a balance.
The key is being aware. I think awareness is a huge key part of this. So the awareness of your ego is how you can harness your ego.
Talk to me.
I don't think it's not having an ego. Don't get it twisted. I think your ego is very important. It gets you out of danger. If there's somebody threatening you, your ego is the thing to protect you. But I think some people mistake confidence and an inflated ego, where it's like nothing else, no one else matters. I'm the best. And that's usually when you get hit the hardest, when you get cocky. So cockiness is an inflated ego that doesn't have harnesses on it. But when you can harness your ego, you've mastered self. When you can master yourself, that's when real shit happens.
Speaking, you know what, that was the perfect segue to our guest here, right? And here's why I say that, right? Mastering self. This man's last name is Vigilante.
Let's go.
Come on, man.
Let's go.
I don't even know if I want to say his first name, but his last name is Vigilante. Like,
when you say it together, though, it flows so good.
Anthony Vigilante.
How sexy is that name?
Bro, if I had that name, you talk about ego. Like, if I had that name, you guys couldn't tell me anything. Do you lead with that? Like, do you say your whole name, or do you just go by Anthony?
I'll go by Anthony for the most part.
Yeah, I would never.
Me and ego, we have a long history. Growing up, I wasn't always like the best at everything I did.
Yeah.
So I grew the humility first, and now ego is coming more into like a play in my life.
Yeah.
So.
I love it. Before we jump into your story, brother, we gotta jump into what we call the basket of debate. And so what this is a bunch of random questions that we're gonna sit around and debate. It's kind of like an icebreaker, right?
Cool.
Kind of like a way of us getting to know how you think, how we think. Grab one of those, and feel free, like, if you're still dating, to use this on a first date. We rent the basket of debate out for a cost. You can become a sponsor of the basket of debate for your price.
eHarmony.com.
Yeah, let's jump into it. Sav,
you want me to go first?
Yeah.
All right. If you had to read a book from cover to cover, what book would it be? That is a dumb question. I would read so many books.
So many. What? Okay, let's do this. What book are you reading right now?
I'm reading a book called "Don't Believe Everything You Think" by Joseph Nugent, and it's talking a little bit about ego. It's a very easy read. Highly recommend it. And it's just how when we think versus just observe our thoughts, we can imagine our own suffering.
Yeah.
Just by thinking. We think too much about stuff.
Yeah.
It's a good book.
I start the year always with Who Moved My Cheese?
That's a good one.
I love that book.
I haven't read that in a long
No, it's
time.
literally 10 pages, bro. Like,
We're all going to go pick it up after this.
like, I have it. This is on the shelf.
Yeah,
It's great. It's a great book. Great way to start the year. I know we're like in the spring, but it's a great way, like that first quarter, to just like reset and understand like things change. I won't spoil it for you. I'll just tell you that things change, and what do you do? Who are you when things change around you? When your environment changes, shifts around you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anthony, what you got?
Question or my book?
Book.
Book. So, can I give 2 for a book?
Sure.
So, 1, the book I would read cover to cover, I say for most people. I don't even know if I could say the name on air, but The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Beep.
Yeah. I've read it.
Good one.
Good one, someone that I read that one probably at the perfect time for it to come into my life. Second one, I like reading for a little bit of entertainment too. So I'm reading the Witcher series right now. I think
It's healthy.
I think a lot of people get invested into reading and are just like, you gotta read the self-help book always.
Yeah.
That's what's gonna be the thing that helps you. Some people just don't like to sit down and read stuff that like they have to think too much about.
Well, sometimes we're always working too hard on ourselves.
For sure. Yeah.
We need some balance, some
Take the time.
entertainment.
Take the time and enjoy it.
It's part of it.
Another one that I would highly suggest is The Alchemist.
Okay.
If you haven't read that,
Okay.
that's literally one of my favorite books.
Word.
For sure.
Like I can read that cover to cover like over and I get something different every time I read it.
Okay. I love
yeah,
books like
like-
that.
Have you ever read it?
It's like a no.
It's really good.
I've heard. I know.
Yeah,
Everybody
it's-
has said that
yeah,
book.
It's really good. Like, and I was kind of on the fence. Like, then I read it and I was like, yo. Like, it is not a hard read, right?
Sure.
It sounds like it is, but it's literally a story.
Have you guys ever read The Four Agreements?
I have.
Man, that's another easy read, but it's
Yeah.
so you could get something different every
it's
time.
every time.
Different lesson every time you read it.
Yeah. What's your question, brother? What you got?
Natty or not, Zac Efron.
Nah,
He's not
bro.
natty.
Nah, he's admitted he's not natty. Did you see him in freaking Baywatch? Dude was.
Yeah.
How about in, what's the new one, Iron
And the
Claw?
new one, yeah, he said it on. Yeah. No.
I want to see that.
But that's also okay.
I'm a big fan of his, but I agree with you guys.
His whole thing is now he went from being High School Musical star, so everyone wants to look at him as like this innocent guy.
Yep.
Now he's just jacked. Action. He's trying to be action star. Like the guys he's hanging around with. Like that's what he's trying to be, and that's fine because dude looks amazing.
Amazing, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. And I think, like, I know it's a big debate, right? Especially in our industry. I think it's circumstantial, right? Like, if you're going to work at Verizon, you probably don't need to be taking anything. Zach, who needs to be on camera as an action star, Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Listen,
He's probably not even making that decision himself. He's probably like, this is what I want to do. And his whole team of people is like, okay, we're going to Roy Jep.
yeah, but to achieve that look, bro, like,
Yeah.
it is what it is, right? Like some of your favorite people are probably taking something, right? Like, and that's like if you are not upfront with it, like if he's just like, oh, I'm just eating chicken breast and broccoli, and I'm thinking if I do that, I'll look the same. Then that's misleading.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of like fitness influencers and some of your favorite trainers are doing as well.
Oh, yeah.
And lying to you about, oh no, I'll sell you a meal plan and you'll look like me. No, bro, not unless you go to the same doctor.
Anybody who's telling you can look like them just probably is somebody you should
Especially
listen
in
to.
short periods of time.
Yeah, like-
that's
Yeah.
a big red flag.
Yeah.
Next 30 days, bro. No, I don't think so. But anyway.
Yeah. All right.
All right. True. This is a true or fact or fiction. Elephants eat twice their body weight in green leafy vegetation. Fact or fiction?
I believe that's probably a
We don't have an
Fact.
answer to this either. So
Oh.
I don't know if it's fact.
I'm gonna say fact. feel like they're eating off trees a lot.
I was gonna say, I'm gonna say fact as well.
I think so too. I
What,
believe
their
they can
body
eat.
weight?
Body weight.
I wonder if
That's
it's
a lot.
That's a lot.
I wonder if it's a trick question, like where it's like actually they eat twice their body weight
That's what I
or
said.
something like that. You know,
Elephants
is
weigh
it
what,
twice?
Like a ton? Dude,
Yeah,
how much does an
elephants
elephant
eat
weigh?
twice their body weight in green leafy vegetation.
I'm gonna say true. I'm gonna say it's a fact.
And
Can we get a Google check on this?
I'm gonna say fact because it doesn't give a period of time. It doesn't say like a day.
Right, that's what I was thinking.
It doesn't say like in a month. It's just so I'm thinking if it's a lifetime.
In their
elephants will
lifetime?
eat a lot.
Yeah, I believe they're eating more than.
It's a lot, but it's a lot to sustain.
If there are any elephant experts out there, you can feel free to drop by and enlighten us. 200 to 600 pounds of leafy
per day?
greens
Per day.
per day.
So in their lifetime,
That is
they
so
will
much
eat-
green.
We need math here.
What
We
does
need-
it say in a day?
I need an elephant to teach me how to eat my vegetables.
No, you don't.
First, you need a really long shot.
Right. A couple things you're missing here.
Yeah, I guess it's, the goal is not to be an elephant. So.
Right. I mean, Sav, it's totally up to you, man.
My point is, I don't eat enough vegetables, but we're gonna get there.
Right. Just say that, Terry. He's
All
trying
right.
to sneak it in, baby.
Let's segue into, let's talk about you a little bit, Anthony. So you are here. We met at a kettlebell certification, which was awesome. We had advertised it through the magazine, but we had it at TrueMab. A friend of mine, Clifton Harsky, led it. He's wonderfully smart and brought a lot of kettlebell tools to the table. And what's so cool about events like that, any event that's fitness related, it brings people together. And that's what we want in the Nashville fitness community. We want people to know what's out there and know who you can connect with. And you are somebody that I really vibed with. I vibed with everybody there. It was so great. But so we, talked about kettlebells, and then you came to my class, and we have talked on Instagram a little bit. And after we had a conversation after class, I was just so intrigued by your story and all the things that your values. So let's start with where did you get into fitness? What was your beginning and what brought you to Nashville?
Sure. First off, I want to say thank you guys for having me in here.
Yeah.
So started with fitness. I was an athlete growing up. I always played basketball, volleyball. I was a kid who just ran around. Sorry.
I'm good.
Then as I started to get older, especially in high school era, lots of injuries. My shoulder was so messed up, couldn't lift my arm above my head. And I'd be playing basketball, I would catch a ball and my arm would go dead, and I'm running down the court with a dead arm and stuff like that. Then as I went into college, I got more injured, tore my ACLs, all this stuff. So then,
Dang, man.
lots of injuries, and that kind of came full circle to where I am today. So I specialize in pain-free performance. I like helping people, any sort of pain that they're living in through life or exercising or whatever. I like to be able to take them in and help them fix it, feel better, anything to kind of help them live life a little bit more freely and be more active in general. So after tore my ACL, rehab, all that stuff, I saw how physical therapists were kind of doing it, and I was like, I think I can not do exactly what they're doing, but the people that I had, they kind of were babying me, and I was like, I can figure this out for the most part. First, knee rehab wasn't really the best. After that, I kind of fell into personal training, started training at a place for a bit, and my original mentor, the first thing he kind of told me is, you have to go meet this chiropractor. Just talk to him, shadow underneath him for a bit. He's taught me a lot, sit underneath him, listen to what he has to say. So I went to him, and his main thing was that people would come to him with pain, and he would give them basically their medicine, which was specific movements for them to do.
Sure.
And that was kind of something that I grabbed a hold of with my training and brought it into people that I trained.
So kind of like physical therapy
Physical therapy, but
in a not so much a
one
clinical
step
setting.
removed, because physical therapy, you're dealing with people post-surgery most of the time. A lot of times people get prescribed physical therapy where it's like, oh, my shoulder hurts when I do this movement. They go to physical therapy fix them up to a point, and it's like, all right, what do I do from there? That's when I really like to step in and be like, hey, I can help you now. get your shoulder moving, get strong again, get you more mobile, and then you can go out doing your shoulder press, doing whatever you got to do just with your life. You can exercise free, move more freely. Worked at that place for a little bit. What's interesting about the first place that I ever worked at for 3 years out in New York is that half of the clientele was special needs. So I have this background of trying to do pain-free performance and all this stuff, and it's now you're giving me a group and a population that is struggling to move in general in some cases, or you have to be able to break down an exercise into the simplest form in order so that they can pick it up and succeed. So I have these two kind of like pillars of where I started training from, and they kind of met together, and that's how I started doing what I do today, which is kind of more functional and mobility based and strength based. I also have a little bit of a lot of hypertrophy, I guess, knowledge, because I worked under a bodybuilder for not worked under, I kind of like trained underneath him for a long period of time. So fitness has always been my life. I love everything about it. Every little niche of it, I've kind of at least stuck my toe in and seen how I liked it. Besides my endurance, my long distance endurance is still the one thing I'm like, I need work there, trying to figure it out.
We all have our sticky points.
Yeah.
But
now I'm working out. I moved out to Nashville about a year ago, and I'm working out of a studio in Brentwood called Base. And it's been a journey so far.
yeah, it sounds like it. I mean, I like the idea of like having multiple interests. I mean, you are doing a fight camp and you haven't done that before. So, you know, like that's what expands our knowledge. And that's what intrigued me about you was like, you have so much in your background. Like you had told me humbly, like you weren't like, I'm bragging about this, but that's why it was so interesting. I rehabbed myself through like basically every joint in my body has had some kind of injury that I've rehabbed myself just by applying things I've learned and like seeking that knowledge, almost like it's a fun game, you know, as I don't want to put that in lightly, like it's not a serious matter having pain, but we all run into pain. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you know about physical therapy, about health, about, you know, how to prevent injury. I don't think that's a thing. I think everybody encounters pain. And I think to be somebody like you remind me of me. It's like almost fun to figure it out. And then I have all this knowledge now that I can help other people with. And that's what became my why, you know, like all the things that have happened to me, I learned so much about that. I'm like, I can help people avoid this, or at least go a different route and skip the steps I went through, or they went through exactly what I went through. I know how to help that person. And that's where the why is. My mom fell. She broke her hip at one point, and I really wanted to learn how to fix it. So I did. Right. And I was able to help my mom. That is one of the coolest things to me, because it's the whole point of my life is to be able to help people. You know, you got to have some kind of purpose. So what has been I guess, I'm not sure how I want to word this question, but I didn't know the thing about working with a special needs population. That's awesome. How did that add value to what you're currently doing? Like, how do you think that uniquely sets you apart from other people as far as being a trainer?
The biggest thing I think I took away from it is having we were talking about kind of like, I guess it's humility, but I'm the type of person who fitness and movement for me has always been easy, right? And I get someone who, you know, they struggle with it, they're tough with it, it's tough for them to do it, then I can now kind of meet them at their level and try and help them move better in any sort of way that I can, help them understand that fitness is meant for everybody and it is healing, and it's a great thing, you know? It should be a part of everybody's
It gave you perspective.
life. Yeah.
It gave you empathy.
It gave me
more.
Grateful that I'm able to move the way that I can, because it's not easy for everybody to do it like that. So I'm grateful for that opportunity to have learned and been in that studio and work with all the people that I worked with, because it opened me to see now that, you know, I think I was kind of put here to help people in fitness, and that was kind of one of the stepping stones for it.
I love that. That's awesome.
No, that really is. And as I sit here and just learn more about you, what would you say, kind of in that same vein, is like your biggest obstacle that you've had to overcome in that? Because like former athlete, the same, but also understanding that you have to niche down in our industry, right?
Right.
And so the way I train may not be the way I train you or you. So how do you feel like you kind of what was it that you kind of like you're awakening? Okay, here's how I'm going to niche.
So probably being able to see my client and understand what they need from that session in generally, not specifically what I want for them, but understanding how is the person when they come into the studio, what's their mental like, how are they physically doing? Because I also didn't just work with special needs, I also worked with people who were dead tired from work every single day. So one of the hardest things for me to learn, and also one of the most valuable things that I learned, is that someone who walks into your studio is not always ready to work out the way that you want them to. And if they're a general fitness client, you have to sometimes meet them and make them just feel better when they walk out of your studio. I think that studio, gym, whatever you're working out, I think that was probably one of the hardest things I had to learn, because I was like, we're doing hypertrophy today, we're lifting heavy, blah, 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 blah. Some people want to do that, and some people are ready to do that. The other half of people didn't eat enough to do that. They end up feeling worse when they leave. Mentally, they can't even pay attention to what you're saying. So you're giving all these cues, bouncing multiple things at them. And it's just like, whoa, I need to take a second, I need to breathe.
They probably won't make progress if you're throwing, because I think the reason this conversation is important is I think a lot of people, not all people, but I think there are people who get into personal training or coaching because it's a cool thing. It is cool. And we've talked about image and how that's important. And I think it is also an easy entry, you don't need a college degree to become a personal trainer full time. I am not, I did not study fitness in college, but I have the certification, and it's all about what you do with it. But my point is, a lot of people don't do it because they care about helping people. A lot of people do it because I can.
It's cool. I can make some money.
And I look good. I know how to train myself. So when it comes to the clients that you want and the job that you want to have, a lot of people want the flashy stuff. Like I want to have the clients that are athletes. And I've been here, and I forget my why sometimes because there are lots of people in the world. And I think the best kind of trainers are people who not necessarily train everybody, but when you start out, you should be able to open your mind to training anybody and learn how to train special needs, learn how to train kids, learn how to train beginners, learn how to train athletes, learn how to train different body types, get more experience, and then you find your niche naturally. And then if you become like a sports, like an athletic director, or maybe you are like a sports specific coach, cool. But not everybody is going to end up that way. And I think there's a lot less attention on the less flashy sides of being a fitness coach. And I think it's important to note that before you can go into the big stuff, some people want that and they go toward it, and then they either get hurt or they realize, oh my God, and then they feel really defeated because they're not ready for it yet. And maybe your trainer doesn't even know how to scale that down for you. So I think it's important knowledge to have, and I think it's important for people to know that there is flashy stuff, but if it's intimidating to you or it's like, this is the only way, please know there are so many ways for you. And just because you might be in a place that's not flashy, and I'm not saying what you do isn't flashy and awesome. I'm just saying, and that your studio, it has no reference to that. It's just about working with all kinds of people. Because like you said, everyone deserves fitness. And I think that's important to just note, it doesn't knock what other people are doing out there that's flashy, I've had celebrity clients before, but I've also had people who can barely move and have no idea what something is. And it's important to go, okay, I have to take myself out of my own shoes and put myself in this person's shoes and really understand this person is starting in a way different place than where I am or where this other clientele is, you know? So I think what you do is so important. And I think you have this extensive background of helping people that, you know, are not out there on Instagram showing off their Olympic lifts, you know, like we see all the time. And it's like, there's people I know that are watching Instagram. They're like, oh, this fitness thing ain't for me, you know, but it's not what you see out there because it's not the flashy stuff.
Yeah, I think messaging is important as well. You can kind of, you know, lean into this as well. Like, because I do get that because I am very active on Instagram and what I do, like people say, oh, I could never do that. And I would never ask you to do that. Right. So like what I do personally, you got to understand like my background and this is how I enjoy training.
Totally.
Day one, I would never have you come in and do the stuff that you see me posted on Instagram, right? And a lot of that stuff is, you know, because I know it looks cool, right?
Right.
And
grab attention.
It's our highlight reel.
And I can physically do it. Like, but if we're being honest with ourselves, the stuff that got us to look the way we look is the boring stuff. Yeah. It's the basic level stuff that you start day one with your clients. We're just able to do it at a higher intensity or with higher weights. So,
because we worked our way there.
Because we worked our way there. So like the stuff that you see me doing on Instagram, I'm able to do that stuff because of the day-to-day stuff that I did in my very foundation, right?
Yeah.
The push-ups, the pull-ups, the basic squat, you know what I mean? The basic, like learning how to hinge correctly, right? Those things are what keeps me healthy because it all boils down to one of those departments. No matter what we're doing that looks sexy, it's going to be one of those things that I just learned how to do correctly. Then I took it to another level. Then I take it to another level.
Repeat.
It just got better.
Yeah, I think that's so, you know, I think it's becoming more out there that is a thing. But like, if we all just like backed up and take that and go, we all do glute bridges. Yeah. We all do body weight squats. We all of us are learning those basic squat, hinge, push, pull, rotate, carry. We're all learning and doing those things. And it's not like at a certain point you just stop doing that.
Right.
You still are going to do that. You're just scaling on top of that. So if people knew how universal fitness really actually is at the end of the day, when you go to a Pilates class, you're doing squats and lunges. Yeah. When you go to a weightlifting class, you're doing squats and lunges. And if you can't do the weight yet, a good trainer is gonna help you.
They'll
you know,
and progression of how to get there.
Modifying is not stupid. It doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're smart. It means you are meeting yourself where you're at and building the strength to do the unmodified version. You know, like we all do this. Yeah. I still do modified push-ups when I'm tired because if I'm doing shitty push-ups from my toes at the end of a workout, I'm not getting nothing out of them.
Yeah. So, and I always tell people like with me, like you have to earn your weight. Right? Like yes, you may be strong enough to do it, but if you can't do it with the correct form, then you're really not strong enough to do it, right? Or if you're fatigued, and I see that you're fatigued, like you said, today maybe today isn't the day to lift heavy. We're gonna do the same workout. We're just gonna change the weight that we use, right? Because you're not mentally here, or like you said, you haven't eaten today, or you're not, you're just zoning out, and whatever you and your boyfriend's got an argument. So let's just do this. Let's get through it today, and hopefully we'll feel better. Yeah. What would you say, Anthony, if you had to like put it out? What would you say your training philosophy is?
My training philosophy, I guess, would boil it down to let's use fitness to move. Fitness can be used for everybody, and it is up to you to find your regression or progression, or whatever it is, to move freely, live more freely, move more functionally. You should be able to jump, run, do everything you want to do, and that should be what your fitness is based on. Not everyone has the goal of jumping, running, being athletic, or whatever it is, but in life, you never know what's going to hit you. You never know what's going to happen. You never know when you're going to get punched in the face or whatever it is. So I feel like any client that comes into me, I'm pushing on them to let's get you able to move pain-free, be strong. I'll get you looking good as well because everyone wants to look good as well. But the main functional thing is, can we move better? Can we feel strong? Can we feel better? And that's just it. And then we can go from there. If we want to go athletic, we can go a little bit more athletic. I'm going to get your cardio going a little bit here and there, but can we get you moving better and more pain-free? That's the biggest thing.
Love it. Yeah. I'm the opposite. Like, I'm going to bring the pain. No, I'm just Pain's
fun.
I'm totally kidding.
I have to discipline some people, or at least try to get them to discipline themselves, because sometimes we'll be doing basic movements and it's where they're at, and it's where I want them to show me, prove like we can move on because you've gotten so good at this. But people want to skip steps because they're like, is this what's going to burn all the fat off my body? Is this what's going to, like, this seems pretty slow and boring. And it's like, well, you have to have somewhere to go, and you can't have that until you've proven to me that you can do this.
So here, and you can, Phil, please answer it, Anthony. Like I remember my college coach used to say, like, we have to like add some aesthetic stuff to keep them interesting, right? So like at the end of our workout, it may be like a bunch of curls and dips and
isolation,
because we like, especially guys, we like that stuff, right?
Totally.
We like do some, we have done curls, coach. Like, why would you do curls? You play football. You have no need to do curls, right? But we like the way it looks. So keeping them engaged,
balance.
Right? Yep. How do you balance that, right? Like, especially like with the physical therapy approach, right? Which is usually a little slower approach, right? Usually a little slower attack. When someone comes to you like, yes, I want to move better, feel better, pain-free, but I also want to be sexy.
Right.
How do you balance that?
So it really, in your program, I usually start with the warm-up, and the warm-up is based on, I can't say enough about how important it is for people to warm up. So if you're not warming up before your exercises, you should be, because in your warm-up, I'm addressing your main linchpin, so what's causing you to have some sort of issue within that shoulder. What are we doing our main lift for that day? Then I'll get your core involved, we'll get some cardio involved, and then we're into our main lifts. That's where most of the rehab magic is happening.
That's how it is for me too.
Yeah, in the warm-up is where most of the rehab magic's happening. Maybe I'll come back to it later, isolate a little bit more. We'll hit our main lifts in the beginning, maybe a little bit strength towards the middle, and then towards the end, we'll really get into the isolation hypertrophy, where I'm like, all right, you're hitting your shoulder, and I'm not just telling you hit your shoulder. I'm telling you this is how your shoulder is supposed to move. I want you and your brain are connecting to this specific spot, so then it's not just all right, I'm looking sexy in the mirror, I'm doing my flies. Can you feel your shoulder in that position? Can you feel your back when you actually pull? So it doesn't just become a hypertrophy exercise where I'm trying to do it to look good, but is your brain there? Are you here today? Are you working? And then we can move on.
And that in and of itself is going to get you closer to hypertrophy at the end of the day. That's the mind muscle connection we all talk about. But I think I always like to say balancing what you need with what you want. And sometimes what people want isn't actually what they want, but a lot of what people want is to feel like they got to work out, to feel like their biceps hurt because you did all these curls and they're growing because you feel that. Yeah, there is nothing wrong with that. If it's not going to benefit them later, although I do think bicep curls are functional, but that's a whole other. I think anything that you do is functional. If it makes you feel like you got a good pump, then it's functional.
Yeah. Great.
Balance both, if you can meet me halfway and do, sometimes it's boring, but a lot of the time mobility and physical therapy doesn't have to be as boring as I think it's been painted to be. I think it's evolving, I
think it's how is this working towards my goal?
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like functionally, this is going to make you better overall, right? We understand that in the industry. But if I come to you and I say, hey, I want to lose 30 pounds, you're like, man, you're really tight in the hips. We got to get those. You got to loosen that up a little bit.
Well, you got to have your knowledge straight. You got to be able to tell
them. You sell
them.
it different. Yeah. So yes, all right, yeah, we'll get there. But we're, doing Cossack squats. She's like, but is this going to make my booty bigger? And you're like, I mean, yeah, but no, not the way you're thinking.
Indirectly.
Like, can we do hip thrusts? Like, man,
it's kind of like marketing. It's kind of like marketing, really. I mean, like when you're talking to your clients, you have to know. Because if I try to sell you on what I do and I use a ton of big words like, oh, well, the latissimus dorsi is going to blah, 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 blah. So if we open up the space here, then that is, no one cares. But if I go, you know what, if we open up your hips a little bit more, you said you have sciatica, your back hurts a lot. Your hips are so tight. And usually if we're not moving around the hips, that's a mobile joint. We want it to move. That's why your back is compensating for it. It's sitting right on top. So one of those joints is going to take over for all the work you're trying to do. But if we just open up the hips more, we won't feel the back so much, and it's going to open up more room for you to feel that booty. That's why you can't feel your booty. Your hips ain't moving. So you want a booty? You got to open up them hips, and then boom, you got them. Then you got them. You know, you just got to know your shit. You know, and there's people who are really good at lying. You know,
you have a mic, even if you whisper it, we still can hear you cuss.
I'm sorry.
You got to know your shit.
Well, you do, and I think at the end of the day, there are trainers who don't know what they're, and they know how to take you through a workout. But anybody can Google a workout. You can get on Instagram, get a workout. You know,
anybody can make you tired. And
right.
I tell people that all the time. You get what you pay for. Anybody can burpee you to death. You know what I mean? Right. Squat you to death or run up and down until you're out of breath. Right? That's not what we're here for.
Right.
So in that, how do you what is your messaging? When people see you, I checked out your Instagram. When people see the things that you do, whether it's kettlebells, whether it's mace, whether it's whatever movements that you're doing, how do you sell that this is how we're going to reach your goals?
So usually, depends on what the goal is, right? So if someone's coming in for me and they're like, I have a guy who came in, he's like, I want to be in the best shape of my life. Mm-hmm. All right, what does that mean?
Right.
All right, so best shape in your life would be, I want to be able to run up and down and do this, blah, blah, blah.
And what's the standard? When were you in the best shape of your life? What were you doing? Yeah.
So his main thing he's doing right now is he's an older guy, plays pickleball, wants to lose weight.
Of course it is.
Yeah. Everyone, pickleball is the hottest thing right now.
Honestly, how old is he? Is he a middle-aged man?
50 something.
Yeah.
But he used to be an athlete. Dude moves well. So my sell to him is he wants to lose as much weight as possible. And he was like, all right, I want to lose 50 pounds in this amount of time. Okay. I'm like, hold on, let's slow down. Yeah. He's one of those guys, super organized, has the full spreadsheet, everything. And I'm like, all right, I looked at his spreadsheet. All right, you're not tracking any of your protein or whatever. Let's track your protein. Oh, you also mentioned to me in your consult that your shoulder hurts, when you're doing a lot, or your back's hurting when you're doing a lot. I want to clear that up, have you moving better. You'll be playing pickleball better. You'll be able to reach and go wherever you want to be more freely. You'll be more happy that way.
Do we have the same client? I have a client literally with the same issue and the same goals.
Well, is your guy 6'6"?
Shoulder issue? No. Wants to play pickleball.
John?
Oh man.
So yeah, my sell with him is that, all right, we're gonna increase your protein. You're moving a lot. You get a client who actually moves
already.
So this is a better sell than to the person who's not moving at all.
Yeah.
So it's get your protein up. We're gonna do the movements that I know will clear up your shoulders. We'll get you functional. We'll get you moving. And then that over time, not super fast, we're going to drop that weight, increase the muscle gains, and then you're going to be in the best shape of your life.
The last part you just said is the hard sell. Not that fast.
Yeah.
Right? We're going to get there, but you got to know, this isn't an are we there yet type situation, right? And
how do you guys both sell that?
Huh?
If people are wanting an unrealistic goal.
Yeah.
As far as I want to lose 50 pounds in a month. I'm like, whoa, slow your roll, Kemosabe.
I tell the truth. Okay. I tell the truth. Show me your goals. What are our goals? Because we do a goal setting segment in your consultation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here, what? Why are you here? What do you want? Right? What does that look like? Let's break it down. And if it's something that I feel is not realistic, then I'm gonna be honest with you. As the expert, that's my
your
job.
That's you doing your job.
Yeah, because if I say, all right, cool, let's do it, I'm trying to get the money, and then a month goes by and you haven't lost 50 pounds, now you're like, well, and I'm like, no, I'm going to be honest with you, bro.
They're out the door.
50 in a month, one, is not healthy. And I'm going to break it down as the expert, right? Usually we're going to lose about 2 pounds a week. That means we're having a great week if we're losing 2 pounds, right?
Yeah.
So on average, that's about 8 to 10 pounds a month.
That's about as fast as you can go.
Right? Yeah. Healthy, right? Without losing muscle and all that.
And feeling good, most important thing.
And feeling good. You're going to hate this. I can take all your carbs away and make you feel like junk. And you get there and you're not going to look good. It's the same thing we have.
But you're being honest. If somebody wants, if you tell them that and somebody walks right into that and that's what they want.
Cool.
I told you the truth, man.
Right. And it's, you have to understand, okay, why 50 pounds in a month? What's going on? You got something at the end of the month. You got something at the end of the month. You got something if I'm training, we've all worked with people in different various industries, right? You got a photo shoot, like. Cause you've been bullshitting. If you 50 pounds up and you need to lose 50 pounds in a month before your photo shoot, right?
Little tight there.
Right?
Where you been?
I got to jump back out on tour, and I got to have my shirt off. All right.
Why are we just now talking about
Why are you just not coming to me, right? Like that's how this works. So I think people want you to tell them the truth, right? And the truth hurts sometimes, but it's also like, hey, what if we don't lose 50 pounds? But you just look like you did. Like, I always ask people that question too. Like, is it a number you're chasing or is it a look? Right? Especially for women, right?
Yeah.
Like, because if you tell someone your weight, you're like, oh, really? And you're like, yeah. But you want to look a certain way. You don't care about a number on a scale. Like, you just want to show up and say, I look good. I can take my shirt off. No one's ever asked me how much I weigh when I take my shirt off.
Well, it's the same as I've been listening to podcasts lately from like some of the most successful people that have ever walked the earth, and it was maybe like Bob Proctor or something talking about this, but well, not yet, not yet, Gerell.
Might get a call after this.
I check my phone.
This podcast is leading us there. We're taking all the steps it takes. But anyway, he was talking about you don't really want money. You don't really want when you talk to people. Well, listen, hear me out. At the end of the day, yeah, it's normal to want a lot of money, but why do you want a lot of money? At the end of the day, you want the freedom that you feel from having the money. You want to be able to feel something. It's a feeling that you're after. Even if you want to look a certain way, it's a feeling that you're after. I want to feel not burdened by hating myself or not burdened by being restricted to how much I can travel because I don't earn enough money, And it's really, so you have to get down to the bottom of why do you really want to lose 50 pounds in a month? Okay, why do you want to look so good in this photo shoot? Why do you want to? Okay, because if you can, that is how you can get to the core of somebody, and that's when people can trust you. It's truth, and it's, yeah. So I go based off of that. Why do you want to have all this money or lose all of this weight? It's because you're looking for a feeling, and you just got to identify that and point that out to that person.
Anthony, I'm curious. I'm gonna ask the obvious question here. How did you have so many injuries? What was going on, brother?
So I'm growing up big computer nerd. So a lot of time spent inactive, kind of just diet was not the best. Not spending enough time on I was spending a lot more time on the glamour muscles than I was
show muscles, baby. Yeah, then the go muscles.
Then the stability or whatever it was. I play basketball or whatever sport I am to 100%. Right, so I'm 5'10" on a good day, and I was playing center for my high school varsity basketball team.
Sheesh, man, we got buckets on y'all. Oh, man, that might have been
until I'm throwing a forearm in your side there, throwing your body around, taking an elbow to the face. But I was willing to put my body out there and put it to its end, and basically that's what I did. Yeah, I ended up tearing this ACL, these shoulders were shot, neck pain, back pain. Couldn't sit in a car for more than 2 hours without my back just being writhing pain. Just
damn.
This is terrible. Neck. I threw my neck out, actually. I was more, but I threw my neck out just headbanging in the car one day. And I was like, what's going on with me?
Well, I think that was probably the most logical injury that you had. Have you ever seen do you guys see yourself when you I've never I've tried it once when I was 10. I was
in a mosh pit.
Have you do you see
Dude,
what's
people
happening?
A mosh pit is literally people beating each other up.
Yeah.
For fun.
Degree.
To a degree.
Depends on the show you go
It does.
to.
Depends on the show.
But it's embarrassing if it's a mild one. If it's a real mosh pit, it's aggressive. It's violent.
Have you been in there?
I have not been inside one. By accident.
Got out of there.
They knock you down, they pick you back up for the most part if you're in a good crowd.
Really?
Yeah, but it's another kind of form of fighting. You gotta walk into it knowing you're probably gonna get hit in the face by someone just writhing their body around. It's wild.
This is okay. We're gonna take a left. This is the difference between white people and black people? What is the point?
There is.
What is
No, I'll tell you the point.
Okay, yes. What is
Just how sports is kind of like that release and expression of whatever you're feeling, emotion, anger, whatever. A mosh pit and a concert just has high energy, high feelings, whatever you're doing. So within that setting, within the mosh pit, it allows you to express and expend that energy. If you're in the right setting and you're with people who are kind of like you around, it's a safe way to kind of let out that energy. For the most part,
It's like dancing.
Yeah, for the most part, people, it's a heavy
It's
aggressive.
not my kind of
What's
dancing.
it called? The Brazilian dance. Was it Capoeira or something like that? It's kind of like the white people's
Capoeira.
version of capoeira, like
for sure.
dance fighting. Like that sounds like a bad place to be, man. I don't know. I'm kind of with Sav. I'm kind of getting out of there. Man.
I mean, I used to be like in high school. I was that scene kid rolling around, but I was never did the mosh pit.
No?
I watched my friends go beat it, and they would come out with bloody noses, and I'm like, you want me to go in there? Get out! I am not going in there. You go ahead. I'll listen to the. But
and you're okay with it?
I also think it's so fun for some people, you know.
I heal that too, baby.
I don't judge. I just don't want to be in it. Okay, so we got to wrap some things up. What we do to wrap things up is we stretch our intellect. So this is a segment called Stretch Your Intellect. And we basically just read off a couple of random, sometimes very random, but entertaining facts. So we might learn something today. And Stretch Your Intellect is brought to you by Stretch Zone in Franklin. And we appreciate you guys at Stretch Zone. So let's get into it. I'll go first this time. Did you know? In the reading rainbow, astronauts cannot cry in space because tears cannot fall down without gravity. Instead, their tears collect in little balls and sting their eyes. That escalated quickly. What do you do with that? I guess you can't have emotions in space. No. Don't you dare cry up there.
You miss home. You got to suck it up.
Yeah.
Or just feel
literally suck up your tears.
Or just just put the pain somewhere else.
Or just let it sting your eyes.
The saltiness of the
that
tears.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Dang.
It just kind of.
It just wells up in your eyes until you are burning. Ouch.
It just doesn't drop. It just stays in there and just.
NASA's like, grow up. Don't
cry.
I'm like, well, the solution to that is don't be a. No, I'm just kidding.
You drink, Anthony?
From time to time.
Beer? You a beer drinker?
From time to time.
From time to time? What's your favorite?
From time to time.
Favorite beer?
Oh, I don't know that I have a favorite. I'm not that big into it.
I'll pick any random thing.
Okay. IPA type of guy? No?
Some used to be. Now I'm kind of leaning more towards like Eatz.
Okay. No? Okay. I got the oldest recipe. That's why I asked. The world's oldest recipe for beer. It
Bud
dates
Light.
back. It's Bud Light. I don't think it is. It dates back to around 1800 BC and was found on Sumerian clay. Is that right? A Sumerian clay tablet. Sumerian. Okay. That is Sumerian. Okay. Tablet and
Mesopotamia.
Talk dirty to me.
I went to high school.
Wow. She said I dropped out, right?
Mitochondria is the powerhouse. I just remember keywords. That's it.
Modern day, I know this one. It's modern day Iraq. Okay. So yeah, that's where the world's oldest beer recipe
And Bud Light copped that.
They probably did. And added a bunch of water to it.
For as long as human beings have been around, we've been trying to get alcohol to numb something.
Man, right? Between wine and beer, right? It's been a thing.
I think wine. Those are both.
Yeah, both
alcohol is
been around quite a while.
Yeah, somebody left some fruit out one day and said, "You know what? I'm still gonna drink it.
I'm just gonna see what happens when I step on these grapes."
That guy who drank the old wine's acting a little funny.
Right.
Oh gosh.
You gonna close us out, Savage?
Guys, thank you so much for joining us on another episode of the NFM podcast. Anthony, thank you so much for being here and talking to us about what you do. Where can people find you?
On Instagram, AntVigFit.
AntVigFit. You heard it here first. So train with my boy, Anthony. He's out of Brentwood. If you're in Brentwood or the Franklin area, highly encourage you. This is somebody who cares and will absolutely help you out of pain if that is what you are looking to do. Should we ask, what is one thing you want to leave our listeners with today?
If you want to move better, get stronger, come find me, reach out. Instagram, whatever. I'd love to help you.
Awesome.
Simple.
Yeah.
I love it. All right. So one more announcement before we sign off. The Music City Fit Expo, guys, check it out this year. It's going to be a lot of fun. It always is. It gets bigger every year. If you're looking for somewhere to start in fitness, you don't have a community, or maybe you're looking to change things up, or you're just looking to meet some like-minded individuals, you'll find everything under the sun at the Music City Fit Expo. So visit the NFM website at NashvilleFitMagazine.com and subscribe to our newsletter. Thank you so much for being here. I am Sav, and I am here with
The Gerell Webb. We'll see you guys next time you press play, baby.